All right, class. So we're going to start talking about scales. So scales, there's many different types, but we're going to focus on major scales, which if you watched the video, you know to have the sound of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So if I take the letters, the musical alphabet, and write them out, if I play that, so I'm going to start here on A. That doesn't sound like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That sounds different. But if I start on C, and I'm playing every note, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So if I do that, this sounds like a major scale. Okay? The A sounds different. Now, if I go to the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth letter of C, which is G, and I start on G, it sounds like a major scale until I get to the 7th note. Okay? So you may hear that this 7th note here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sounds what we call flat or a little too low. If you remember, this is G flat, so flat is lower and sharp is higher. So I'm going to start here again on G. And I play the F sharp instead of the F. And that changes it because the scale, the only scale that we can use all white notes and get that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that major scale sound, the only key that we can do that with is C. If I start on any other key, I'm going to need some sharps and flats in there to make it sound right. So we started on the 5th note and we had to raise the 7th note. So the 5th note of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is D. So if I start on D, let me just clear my whiteboard here. If I start on D, I'm sure that most of you noticed that this note and this note didn't sound right. So this note we need from the previous key, which was G. We need this sharp. And now this note, if I just add this sharp, it's going to sound like this. So I'm also going to need to make a sharp on this note here. So now if I play that, so now I can make a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or a major scale from the key of D. So I think you're starting to see what happens here. If I go to the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth note of A, or the fifth note of D, which is A. This is the scale I played first, so I play this one again. So now you're probably hearing that this note, and this note, the C, F, and G, don't sound right. So if I take the sharps from the previous key, so F sharp and C sharp, and play that, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, I've fixed these two notes, but this note still needs a sharp. So I'm going to add the G sharp. So now, so I can keep going. The fifth note of A is E, so then I write out E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, just like that. And now I'm going to need these three sharps, and the seventh note is going to get raised. Hey everybody, it's Mr. McCabe back here. So what I have done here, I've opened up Audio Tool and I've brought in one pulverizer. And if you look here, I did C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And you can see that between the third and fourth note and the seventh and eighth note, there's no space, but there's a space between all the other notes. And these spaces we call, in music, we call whole tones, and these spaces here we call semitones. And a semitone is the shortest distance between two notes on the piano, right? Two keys that are side by side or touching. And this is a whole tone, a key with two notes with one key in between. We call that a whole tone. So if I look here, it'll tell me what the note is. C4, D4, E4, F4, etc. G4, A4, B4, and then C5. Now, if I take this and highlight all of the notes, then if I move them up to G, and look at what's happened, I can see that that's a G, that's an A, that's a B, that's a C, that's a D, that's an E, that's an F sharp, and that's a G. G5, F sharp 5, E, etc. So if I take Audio Tool and put a major scale in on C and I move it around, it will tell me, Audio Tool will tell me all the notes that need to be sharp. So what I'd like you to do is to put this in for Audio Tool as a scale, just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, straight up and down like that, all the letter names starting from C to C, and then move it up to G, and then D, and then A, and then E, and then B. So just those five, and I'll put a text file as well. So for today, that's all we have for today. Hopefully you listened to the major scale song from The Sound of Music and you know the sound of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. If not, you can do that now. And so all I'd like you to do for today is program those scales into Audio Tool and make them into a Word file, and I'll set up a Dropbox, and you can put those 5 scales that I said, just written out in letter names, just like this, with a Word file. So for E, I'm almost doing all your work for you here. So you would just put the sharps in on E, and then we're also going to do B. Okay, so again, let me just erase my whiteboard here. So we're going to do C, G, D, A, E, and B for today. Okay, so if we can get those 6 keys written out just in letter names, so you start on G, go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then put the sharp in the right spot. So if you're using a Word file, you can just use that for sharp, and when we get to it for flat, you can just use a lowercase b, okay, for your text files. So I'll make a Dropbox for that, and you can get on that activity, and we'll have some more things to follow that up with tomorrow.